Oh, welcome. I am Jimmy. My trail name was Wonderbro, and I am just about a month after finishing a through hike in 2025. So I have a lot of things to talk about, but today I wanted to talk about hostels that I stayed at, in particular my favorite hostels. The list I made turned out to be 8. Really wasn't set on a specific number. 8 just felt right after I listed them all because I wanted to include a bunch for information, but also, like any list or playoff teams in sports that just miss out, there's going to be a couple that will get honorable mentions at the end because that's what makes it difficult. You have to eliminate a few that you really enjoyed, and just listing them all 8 seemed to be a good number. And let's see, let's go over the parameters first for this. So what I included were only hostels that I stayed at in 2025. So if I didn't stay there, it's not going to be on this list. And yes, this is subjective. So before everyone leaves these comments, how could you leave that out? Woods Hole will not be on this list because I didn't stay there. So I can't give you any information. I did stay there on my 2016 through attempt, but again, this is just relating to my 2025 through hike. And there are so many hostels on the Appalachian Trail now, especially in the southern half of the trail. In Virginia, there's so many. So there's going to be a lot that there's a good chance I just didn't stay there. And then it's not going to make the list. So with that being said, let's start. Number 8, I have Around the Bend Stanimals in Hiawassee, Georgia. Or if it's not in Hiawassee, it is right outside. What I like about this hostel, or what I liked about this hostel, the property was just beautiful, and the common area where you could hang out was open, had a fireplace, had a smart TV. We were watching a movie. Actually, I'd never seen The Revenant, and we watched maybe the first hour, and that was on day 5 or day 6 of my hike, and I still have never finished it. It was just getting so late, and I was like, I can't keep watching this with the commercials. Wherever we found it, it had commercials, and I was like, it's going to be another 2 hours. I have to go to bed. But it was with a great crew, and that's actually something I want to say before I get too far into this list. A lot of it is circumstantial, and I've traveled internationally a lot and stayed at hostels, and there could be a hostel that you just didn't like that much, or you got there a week later or a week before, and it could have been a completely different experience because the crew was there. So I'm going to include little things like that, good memories in this list. And at Hiawassee, Around the Bend, there was an awesome crew. Plus, it's so fresh that everyone's just so into their adventure and the excitement. It was hard to have a bad time there. They had an amazing breakfast. You do pay for the breakfast. I want to say it was $12 or something, but worth every dollar. Although if you did watch all my videos or one of those, I did not eat breakfast. My hiker hunger did not kick in yet, and I actually gave my breakfast to another hiker after barely eating any. But yeah, if I had to put any drawbacks to it, the reason it wasn't higher, I should say, is because I stayed in a bunk room, so it was $50 for a bunk, and that included getting picked up and shuttled in. It included laundry, I believe, and loaner clothes. But I stayed in the bunk room for $65. It would have been a semi-private room, which basically you're more in a house-like bedroom, and you're sharing it. There might be 3, 4 beds depending on which room you're in, and you have your own bed. It's not in a bunk, so there's no risk of getting a top bunk. And I think the $15 might have been worth it to get a semi-private. I'd say the bunk room was the one critique I had. It wasn't the worst, but it was small and wasn't the best bunk room. It was kind of small and almost like a garage, like, cement floors. There's definitely, it's going to have a hiker smell. There's nothing you can do about that. But it was just tight. And after seeing the property, I think the $15 extra for the semi-private to be inside the building or the other room that had a kitchen, more bedroom-like, would have been worth it. But these are the prices down south. When the demand is high, they have thru-hiker bubble. So $50 is pretty normal. I know the Green Dragon is in that area. I've never been there, never stayed there. But I believe they charge $50 as well. So this just gives you the prices of hostels, and the demand is there down south. So that's what they can get for a a bunk, and I would definitely pay the 50 again. I got in there on a rainy day and really enjoyed it though. Everyone was lovely, and town, even though you're outside of town, there's a shuttle which they can provide, and then there's also, I believe, Hiawassee had a town shuttle. So if it was in between, they were picking up other hikers or doing slack packing with other hikers, you could call that town shuttle and they would come pick you up. And a big group of us did that. I believe that was my first 0 day. Yeah, so I took a 0, so we went into town on the 0 day. All right, number 7. I was trying to do it without looking at my list, but I'm going to have to. Broken Fiddle in Damascus, Virginia. So couple reasons I liked this hostel. One, I would say a memory factor, or just a really good time for me factored in to this situation or this decision. And I did the Damascus Marathon. I got into town pretty late. It was like 7 something. And I can't remember. I don't even think I had a reservation. That's right. I called ahead and they said there's plenty of bunks and just walk on in. I don't need a reservation. So I got into town and I got a meal to go at the Damascus Diner. One of my favorite places to eat on the whole trail, but I'll do that at a later video, but just thought I'd throw it out there. And I got a burger to go. Can't remember what else. And I got there, so it was probably after 8 by the time I walked from the diner to the hostel, and they ran through everything. Do you ready to do laundry? Put it in. Laundry was included. And I remember sitting there eating in like this kitchen table in the common area that they had, and I watched Home Improvement because I was so hungry, but I wanted to watch something. I hadn't seen a TV in a few days. No one else was in that room. Everyone was hanging outside. They have a outside 420 friendly porch area. They even have a little chipping golf course in the property. It was beautiful out there. And I feel like a few of the comments said that it could be known to be a party hostel. And even though I don't drink anymore, it doesn't bother me if it's around or if people are smoking. It was a pretty chill hostel. The people that ran it were awesome. And yeah, they got my laundry in right away. And I just remember sitting there watching Home Improvement, eating my burger, just so content and happy. And it's that high of getting into town, achieving that goal, getting a meal. And the bunks were quiet. I had a bottom bunk. I think there was only 1 or 2 other hikers there. And yeah, just right. Damascus is kind of a stretched out town, but it was really close. If you were going to take a 0 there, it was close to the subway. It was close to the trail. It might be right on the trail where it walks through, but you could get to either end of town walking distance. So you had freedom. Let me see the price so yeah, $40 for a bunk. That included laundry. And also another thing is it said on the Far Out app, no calls before 9 a.m. And I like that. It's like, hey, we're sleeping in. We're running a business. You're not checking in before 11. Don't call us at 7:30 to reserve your bunk. So I don't know. That made me laugh. And if I was running a hostel, I would probably do it similar. So yeah, Broken Fiddle, really liked it. And also shout out to them because I didn't take a 0, but I don't think I left till like 4:30. So they let me, as long as I got my stuff out of the bunk room, I kept my backpack on that porch area that people hung out at, and they were totally cool with me hanging out while I got stuff done in town. And yeah, good memories. Would definitely stay there again. Recommend it. All right. Number 6, The Lookout in Pennsylvania. I should have looked up the town it's in, but it's really right before going northbound that you get into the rocks, the real rocks of Pennsylvania. And cozy little place. They have little limited resupply options. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had frozen pizza in the freezer. And they definitely had drinks in there, sodas, Gatorades, and you can help yourself. And it was kind of start a tab. You put the price of your bunk and then add up the stuff you got. There was also a restaurant that was within walking distance. It's kind of resorty and a little expensive, but I felt like if you stuck to a basic order, like they do a special every night, and I think the burger was on special, and really wasn't that bad of pricing compared to a lot of the places. I think if you're used to, small town pricing, you might say it's expensive, but really, by the time everything's said and done, I think the restaurant there was adequate. But anyway, I'm getting off track. What else do I like about it there? They have tenting options if you wanted to save some money, but you wanted the amenities in the morning for coffee and pancakes. Breakfast, make your own pancakes was included. Actually, I got to pick raspberries that were growing. It was like peak raspberry season, and they had pricker bushes all along the road there. So I went out in the morning, got some of them, put them in my pancakes. I had coffee that came with it. And yeah, the bunk room was downstairs. Nice shower, nice laundry room, nice bathroom. And let me see, what did I put down the price for that? That was $40 as well. So you're getting the idea of what a bunk cost on the AT. That's really 40, I would say, if you asked me how much a bunk costs and I was just trying to average it. That's the number I'd throw at you. There are some cheaper, there are some more expensive, but that's about it. And what else did I miss on the Lookout? Great people that run it. I should have wrote down their names, but they go above and beyond. And yeah, just a cozy little spot. It's one of those spots where you pull up, and I wasn't 100% committed to staying there, but I was just like, I don't want to leave. And it's a hot day, and I'm so glad I stayed and just had a chill afternoon and a couple good people. I think it holds 8 people plus maybe one private room. But yeah, can't recommend it enough. The Lookout Hostel. All right, let's go up the list. Number 5, The Grove in Franklin, North Carolina. So it is, Franklin, that is off trail. So they give you a free shuttle if you obviously call ahead and reserve. But their location is actually great. Probably one of the best locations of a hostel because you're not right downtown where it's going to be noisy, but you are within walking distance. So that way you have the freedom to go do whatever you want. I think they might drive you into town once in the day, but you really don't need it. It's not a far walk. Town is right there with restaurants, the Outdoor 76 where I got my buff that you see me and a lot of other hikers wearing. And let's see the price. It is, $40, laundry included. And it was just a really cozy property. They run it really well. You do have to leave in the morning unless you're taking a 0 day, but there is no like leave at your own time because the shuttle goes, I believe it's 8, maybe 8:30. And it is like a at least 5, I want to say it's like a 10-mile drive to that road gap, but it keeps everyone efficient. Hey, let's go get ready at 8:30. And we're out. But I remember watching a movie there. Same thing. Good memories, good crew early on. Still the excitement. Not very big, but it was just perfect. Like the common room that you hang out in wasn't big, but it was just big enough. And they do your laundry, so you don't have to worry about that. I love places that are just like, give me your laundry, we'll do it, and it shows up in a basket folded, dry, everything. It's so nice. So yeah, I'm trying to think of I really loved the Grove Hostel. All these hostels that I'm mentioning I love, but that was just a really cozy night, movie night, hanging out, getting everything done, charging. Bunks were clean, easy. Yeah. All right. Number 4, Bear's Den in, don't know the name of the town, but in Northern Virginia. It's right, I believe you're still in the roller coaster, so it's in the middle of the roller coaster. So as you're getting north, closer to Harper's Ferry in that area, and didn't expect to stay there, or maybe wasn't planning on it until that morning, and I saw the distance, and I walked up, and the property was just so beautiful. It's like this old stone building that's big. Like I thought I was trespassing on the wrong property walking in, because I was like, this can't be it. This is too nice. It looked just like this property that someone's had in the family for hundreds of years. And turns out it was the hostel. And there's the upstairs with an amazing common room. And it does close after a certain time. But we were hanging out there. Great crew. People were playing music. There was one person, I don't know, if not the guitar, maybe banjo-like instrument. I feel like I'm missing a name on that. Someone else is playing the piano, and they had a hiker special. I forget what I loved about it too. It was $40 for the bunk, laundry, and then you also got a frozen pizza, an ice cream, and a soda. And I was expecting with that deal it would be, some small little frozen pizza and some small little cup of ice cream, but it was like a full pint of either Ben & Jerry's or Talenti, and then it was also like a full Red Baron pizza. And I think the bunk was 30. So I took a 0 there. I just loved it that much. And the second day of the day, I took a 0. It was really bad weather and rain. And I was like, why am I going to do this? I think I was on schedule to make it to where I wanted to be anyway. It was kind of like, take one day off this day. So Loved staying there. The bunk room was downstairs, and it was nothing special, but it was clean and cozy, and there was a TV down there, so you could watch movies, and we hung out, watched movies. There was self-serve because upstairs did close, so there was self-serve drinks. You could leave the money in the little bin, and I think it was like sodas, maybe something else. So at least you had something if you wanted some sugar after the upstairs closed. But yeah, just didn't expect that property aesthetically pleasing from the outside to the inside upstairs where you hung out. It was just awesome, and I'm glad I took a zero. Oh, and plus, it is away from town, but you can short walk, maybe 3/4 of a mile at most, and there is a brewery. So I went there for food on my 0 day, and actually had to wait out. I got that bad weather that I was trying to avoid, so I stayed at that brewery and edited videos for like 2 hours. It was a pretty gnarly thunderstorm, but yeah, loved Bears Den. That's top up there. Even looking at this list, I'm like, man, how is it only 4? But we'll find out. Oh, 3. The Refuge Hostel, another place where I was not planning at all to stay. If I remember correctly, I saw it as an option to top off a resupply so I could keep my pack lighter. And I camped the night before at the Overmountain Shelter, or where the Overmountain Shelter used to be. You can still tent there, and it's a big open spot. And it was the coldest night on all of my nights on trail by far. It was down south when I still had my 40-degree bag, and even though I added layers up to that point, I could not get warm. And normally down south at once a week when I had a really cold night, I would wake up at like 3-4 in the morning and then couldn't get back to sleep because of how cold I was. But this one was one where I like really never got to sleep. I was so cold at night getting in, and I just never warmed up. And the reason I didn't want to stay there when I woke up, if you've been watching, is I had, very rarely do I reserve ahead, but I had a reservation at Boots Off. And I wanted to take a 0 there, so I reserved 2 nights because I think it was like a holiday weekend coming. I don't know. I overthought it, and I reserved it. And now the reason I don't like to reserve is because I took my flexibility away of being able to stay there because I didn't sleep that well at night, and it was cold. And when I got to the refuge, there's like a side trail that's steep and up, and I saw it. There was a few hikers that I'd never met, and they were watching a movie, and it was just so cozy. It's small, but even the building looks, I think they live either upstairs or downstairs. I can't remember, but it was just such a cool looking building, and it was just set up so perfectly. Like there was a little kitchen area in the middle, and that separated the sleeping area, the bunks, and then they had some, single beds on the floor as well that didn't have bunks above. And then just a little perfect couch area with a window and a little wood-burning stove. And I was like, I just want to stay here. And I was like, I can't because I have a reservation. And then throwing the idea out with a few other people, that's when I got the idea. Is like, I can do 32 miles to Boots Off and stay here. So I'm so glad I stayed there because it's just a place I did not want to leave. And $20 for a bunk. That included coffee. And when I got there, it was still early in the day. So a bunch of us were drinking coffee at like 2 in the afternoon. It was still cold, warming up. Felt so good to get inside. And the owners were amazing. They drive you into town. Even though they have resupply option there, they want you to get into town. It's not like, hey, you have to buy from us. They know what hikers want. And we got into town, got some takeout food, you bring it back, and they had to do several trips because it was a full house that night. But same thing, great crew, great memories, watching movies, cozy place, and they go above and beyond. So I would 100% recommend staying there, and I would absolutely stay there again. Take a 0 there if I could. All right, moving up the list. Now I see why Bears Den was only 4. So Elmer's Sunnybank Inn, Hot Springs, North Carolina. This property and this building and the history, I believe it was built in the 1800s, and it's just old and historic. You can just tell when you walk in, you're in this piece of history. And no technology other than I think they had a TV in one room downstairs, or maybe not even. I remember the owner was using the internet and sitting on the couch next to me, but it's just like bookshelves and old furniture. And right walking distance into town, so you had the freedom to get up and go on your. I took a 0 day there, so I could go eat whenever I wanted. I don't like being on other people's schedule. A lot of times, it's nice to just have freedom and do the chores when you want and sleep in, and that's what I loved about there. And it was just such a fun place to be. I wish this goes back to why I wish I had more time. And sometimes through hiking, you just always have to go. Even though I took a 0 there, I could have spent extended 3-4 nights and just read some of the books that they had on the bookshelves and chilled out. And yeah, absolutely loved it there. Highly recommend staying there. All right, number 1. I can see it on the list. Oh, I forgot to give you prices. So where did I leave off? Hiker special. Refuge was 20. Yeah, I said it. Elmer's was 35 and also included laundry. All right, so Maine Roadhouse in Stratton, Maine. All of these hostels are amazing, but this one is just, nearly perfect. I don't know what else you could do. I guess, if it had someplace walking distance. Town is a shuttle ride away, but they drop you off. You get groceries at the grocery store. They have a full kitchen you could use, even though I didn't take a 0 day there, so I didn't have time to use that. But it's just a beautiful building, and the inside is just so cozy. The way they have the fireplace in there, they have the couches, they had a TV. I was able to watch football. That was later in the year, so we watched, I believe it was the Sunday night football game there. And just the bunk room upstairs, the way they laid it out, and the privacy curtains, and it's perfect. And this goes to international hostels. This is one of the nicest hostels I have ever seen. And the private rooms, the way they have them down the hallway, the showers, they even have a big property out in the back. You could hang out, have a campfire. This one, I looked it up. I thought I remember paying 40, but I just looked it up on Far Out, and it says 45, includes laundry. They do pancakes in the morning. But yeah, I really wanted to take a 0 day there, but I was also so close to the end, and I thought maybe I could come back after my hike was done. I was making plans on possibly getting picked up, and I would have to wait 2 days, and that's how bad. I really wanted to stay there. Like, I could have stayed there and just quit my hike. It was that nice. So highly recommend all of those. But yeah, especially those top 5 really, really get better. But all 8 on the list were great. I'm trying to think if there's now things that you could even make them better, but no. My critiques are here and there. Bear's Den, some people complained that it was hot when they stayed, so they didn't like it for that reason. Maybe because it was raining, thunderstorm, it was cooler weather. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And yeah, all of those. So I think I've covered that. All right, so what just missed a list? Places that I would totally stay at again were definitely good hostels, but as I said, in order to make a list, you have to make tough decisions, cut them out. So on the bubble, as they would say, I have 3 right off the bat. So Boots Off just misses this list. In fact, I'm trying to think of reasons that I wouldn't put it on there. I think I was with Big Lug and his wife, and they offered, and his wife Callie, thank you for driving me. And so I didn't get the full hostel experience. We kind of went into, wow, I'm blanking the name, but anyway, we went into town. Was it Johnson City in Tennessee? So we spent the day there, and it was nice to have a car and go to restaurants. So I kind of just slept there, and the shower was amazing. The property was beautiful. Oh, I guess it's lacking. The common area they have a great outside common area, but inside it was kind of small and not terrible, but maybe that factored into just missing out on the list. But if you're on the trail, here's the thing: you're walking. So most of these places, even when I get to the ones that I didn't like, I would still stay there again if there's bad weather or if it's just a big stretch, because you are kind of at the mercy of the trail. So this is not even close. Boots Off I would definitely stay there again, and it's not because the trail led me there. It's just, I don't know. Maybe the timing, or as I said, because I got more of the town experience going in and didn't stay there as long. Even though I took a 0, we were kind of venturing into town a lot. So Loved it. Would stay there again. Recommend it. And then let's see which one's next. Uncle Johnny's, of course, in Irwin. They just redid it after the hurricane damage. It's a beautiful property. The outside common area is awesome. I didn't stay in the bunk room. Me and Big Lug split a private room, and it was great. I mean, it was very clean, very modern and new because they just rebuilt it. It was quiet. It had everything you needed. Yeah, I would say it just missed the list. Maybe these ones don't even have reasons. It's just when you're ranking, but maybe a better indoor common area because like the building, the store, the outfitter takes up a lot of it. I think a lot of times if you're gonna get in on bad weather, you don't want to just sit in the bunk room all day. And having a nice open indoor common area really to me makes it because you're always outside, and even if it's a beautiful day but it's sunny and it's hot, you're like, I don't want to be outside. I want to be inside. Air conditioning is a plus. So yeah, but Uncle Johnny's, it's been there for a long time. It's a staple. If you're doing a through hike, you should definitely stay there. It's worth it, and for sure. And town a little bit away, but they shuttle you in, and yeah, recommend it. All right, what's the last one that I circled is just outside? Oh, kind of outdoorsy in Duncannon, Pennsylvania, right in town. It's just so centrally located. You have the code to the back when the store, they basically have the outfitter and resupply store in the front, and then you're kind of not locked in because you can get out the back door, but you're not going through that door once the store closes. But the Doyle's right there, town is right there. You can wake up, your pack, you leave it, you go to breakfast in the morning. The people are great, and yeah, would 100% stay there again. I would say same thing. Lacking is their common area. It's kind of close to how they have some bunks in. There's like stack bunks in one room, and then there's traditional bunks in another. And it could just have a little more space, a little more character, but it's got everything you need. I would happily stay there again. So those three to me really just missed the list, and really not knocking any of them. I would stay at all of them. And as I said, maybe sometimes it's just the crowd that was there, or if I was making miles at that time, not taking zeros could factor into these decisions too. All right. What else did I want to mention? Oh, a couple places that don't really fit in to the hostel but were memorable. Stay at Swatara. They have a resupply there. You can tent, and then they have like this big green army hut with cots, and it was only $20. And it was a really bad thunderstorm that night, and they had fans, and I remember saying it was the best $20 ever because everyone in the next morning had their tents were soaked, and then you got to pack them up. It's not going to dry, and just a cool, memorable experience sleeping in this big green army tent, and it was pouring rain. It was a really, really gnarly thunderstorm. So they might be trying to build a hostel. There's this big house, but it's not part of the hostel. The porch you can charge on, but yeah. If you were in bad weather, you just wanted to kind of get inside, like everything was dry because I was in this little tent for $20. Definitely do it again. The Church Hostel in Delaware Watergate. It's kind of a hostel, more of like a donation based, but for the value for the donation based, I love that place. I don't know. It's just got charm to it. It's right in the center of town. Well, I guess kind of on the outskirts, but town is right there. You can walk to any place in just a handful of minutes. They're not preachy. They're very welcoming. They're awesome people. They do a hiker feed. I wasn't there for it, but it might be once or twice a week. I slept on the couch. They also have these kind of bunks. Remember, it's donation based, so it's very basic, but they have a shower. Even if you're not staying there, they let you take a shower there. And yeah, nothing special, but I've also, obviously you have to stay there in 2025. I said that early on, but nothing. I've stayed there 3 times, and every time I've enjoyed it. And it's just what you get. And there's tons of options in Delaware Watergate if you want to spend money on hotels, bed and breakfast. But I just have good memories of there from this year and from years prior. And if I was planning another hike through there, I would plan on using that as an option to stay indoors. I fell asleep on the couch with the fan like right on me, and it was one of the best nights of sleeps I had. It probably helped that I was doing big miles through that section, but yeah, love it. Good memories. All right, what else do I need to cover? Oh, the hike in. right outside of the Smokies. Basically, they pick you up from the Fontana Hilton. I took a 0, so I actually spent one night at the Fontana Hilton and then went to the Hike Inn. I just wanted to go to a proper grocery store to go through the Smokies because I knew I didn't want to stop in the middle and go into Gatlinburg. And it was nice to get a place inside, but I can't really. The reason it's not making the list is because it's not really a hostel. It's more like a hotel. You can definitely split it with another hiker. They have some that are double bedrooms, but they get you into town, proper grocery store, and then you can start the Smokies the next day. So I'd recommend looking into that. But yeah, think of it more like a very affordably priced hotel room, but it's catered towards hikers. Even if you're not a AT hiker, anyone that's going through the Smokies, obviously other people can stay there, but that's really where they advertise their business to, and highly recommend it. Would do it the same way. It just set me up to have a nice resupply, fully stocked food to get all the way through the Smokies. All right, getting down to it. What else do I need to throw on here? Angel's Rest. Another one that I probably should have circled just outside the list. I think they might be selling it, but the bunk room, it was just okay, the bunk room. But then they have an area where you can hang out in during the day, watch TV. There's a kitchen in there, coffee, and I really like that indoor common area. Then they had a beautiful property where you could walk around by the laundry room. There was picnic tables out there you could hang out, and what was great about it is you could walk right to the grocery store, right to town. So you had the freedom. You weren't on anyone else's schedule. It was really convenient to stay there. Almost positive I took a 0 day there because of that, and you get your calories up, your meal. You can go to the grocery store multiple times. Sometimes when you're doing a resupply and you just have one drive in and one drive out, you're like, oh, did I get anything? Did I forget? When you're right in town, you can walk. Like if you forgot something simple or you're going through it and you're like, maybe I should get one more of these or one more of that. It's nice to be able to go back and just be on your own schedule. So I liked it there. Again, if I had a critique, I would say the bunk room could be a little bit nicer, but when you're hiking and you have a roof over your head, just a bunk is very, very sufficient. So my storage on my phone filled up. So came back to record this another day, but all I had to say that was left on the honorable mentions was Shaw's. So what I loved about Shaw's is they had the glamping tents, which I think we lucked into it. Big Lug was looking at bunks, and it was really, really crowded there. So, as I said, circumstances will play into this, and that's probably why it didn't break into the top 8 for me, because my social battery was so low towards the end of the hike. You have such little personal space out there, especially when you're at shelters and just most of the time. And really, your tent is like your own little personal space, and that's it. And mine's small, so I don't hang out in there much. It's just for sleeping. And Shaw's had the glamping tent, which made it 100 times better for me. So I really did like it for that reason. And I could just lay in there, not have to worry about talking to anyone, answering things. But yeah, I would say it just missed getting in that list because it was just crowded when I was there. And the social area is just, they have a TV and, a place to hang out, but it's a lot of outside, and the weather was great. But at that point, I either wanted to sit and watch a TV or just be away from people. So that's what I did on my 0 day there. But as I said, recommend it. Just like the other ones that are outside the list, I would stay there, speak highly of all of them. So I think that wraps it up. Just when I was at the end, my storage cut out, but that'll fix it, or that'll finish it, I should say. And yeah, thank you guys for watching and supporting, and can't thank everyone enough. And hopefully this helped you out, or if you're hiking or through hiking or section hiking, you can use this information. But there are a lot more hostels out there. Do your own research. It could be different for you. And as I said, there's a lot that I just blew right by because of how much was out there. So yeah. Thanks again.